Writers Corner live show brings you the backstories to the stories written by incredible storytellers from around the globe and offer you, the audience, the unique opportunity to interact with them live during the show. So please leave us your questions in the chat, whether you're watching us live or on the replay. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Xavier Thomas is a young and newly published author. Now, for the longest time, in the last while anyway, we've brought you the amazing, accomplished authors that have written many books. And I think our last author had 36 Emmys and more. But one of the reasons we set out to do the show was not only to showcase accomplished authors, but also up and coming authors. And our author for today is no exception. Xavier Thomas is a young and newly published author and has been called an inspiration to his generation. So let me first welcome my amazing co-host, Mary Elizabeth Jackson, to the show. I'm based in Cape Town in South Africa. Mary's in the US. She's a special needs and disabilities advocate and also the award-winning author of the Foolishest children's book series, and she lives in Nashville. And so, Mary, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm very well, and you?
Doing very well. It's a little gloomy here and we're starting to get cold and you're probably starting to warm up a little bit where you are, which is kind of so fun and interesting because we're in totally different places and totally different weather most of the time, right? And but yeah, we're excited for our author today because this platform is for everything that has to do with writing and all of that world. And so it's exciting to be able to bring somebody onto our show and him talk about this journey and, you know, how he's so young doing this. And I think it's amazing. I was talking to him earlier and I'm like, you got so much time ahead of you. There's a million things you can do. So, and I said, that's what old people say to young people, right?
Absolutely. And the interesting thing, though, is that I don't think we've had very many authors of poetry on the show.
No, so I'm excited because poetry is a big love. It's a love, you know, that people have.
As far as I can remember, in the last 2 and a bit years since we've been doing the show, I think there's only one other author we had that, or two other authors we had that had poetry. But our guest for today is by far the youngest. So we really look forward to talking to him. It's great that to have young authors. He's not the first young author that we've had, but he's the first young author of poetry.
Yes.
That we've had on the show. And so, as we said before, he's a young and newly published author. He's been called an inspiration to his generation. And he tells us that he likes to share stories about his relationships that other people can relate to. And that's what it's all about, isn't it, Mary? About storytelling and talking about things that other people can relate to, because that's what warms up your audience.
Absolutely. Yes. And just being able to, it helps people to not feel alone and that they're doing this by themselves and that maybe, oh, okay, so I'm not so strange or weird. You know, I'm actually, that sounds, you know, somebody else can relate to how I'm feeling and I can relate to how they're feeling. So it's very important. And poetry is my first love. I've not published anything of poetry yet, but that is my first love. I've been doing that like my whole life. And when I go into nature, and nature is so full of metaphors and it's just so beautiful. So I love to read poetry and I'm excited to talk to him and be inspired by him.
Oh, absolutely. So shall we bring you onto the show? He also says that he believes, and that this is great advice for anyone out there. He says he believes that in being consistent, having faith and focus helps you enjoy your life. So let's welcome Xavier and his book, It's Just Us, onto the show, shall we?
Yes.
Hey.
Hi.
Sophia, a warm
Hi.
welcome to the show.
Oh,
Hi,
this is an honor.
Javier. How are you? Do you like that intro?
Yes, absolutely. How are you guys? I'm doing just fine.
We're doing great. So, I guess we'll just jump right in and we want to know because we have some questions for you, of course, because we're very curious about our authors and we want to know everything about them. We can cram in 30 minutes, right?
Right,
And
right,
so, who inspires you the most and what was the inspiration behind It's Just Us? Because that's very important for readers out there to know and new fans and
right,
fans you already have. And those who might go, wow, okay, so hey, maybe I can use that as an inspiration for me too.
right. So I would probably have to say my first inspiration would have to be Darshawn McAway.
Mm.
He actually taught me a little bit about poetry, and also from the time when he started. And so what happened afterwards was just that I just became phenomenal. I loved it. Honestly, I started off with 10 poems back in 2017.
Wow.
And then afterwards, I just went on from on there. That's really all I can say for right now.
Wow.
But overall, I really enjoy it. I love it. Um, it's great work. I can do anything that I want. I can change it up. I can talk about certain different things and different aspects and stuff like that. But I would have to say my inspiration definitely came from Darshawn McAway for sure.
And we love Darshawn.
Yeah,
He's an
yeah,
awesome, awesome
definitely.
guy. He's
Yeah,
very inspirational. We've had him on several times, so we're big fans of his.
yes, definitely.
Yes, we have, and he shares an incredible journey himself of how he got started, and
Yeah,
how he's built his business.
yes,
So I think people like yourself and many others out there watching who want to become an author or even just get into business can learn so much from Darshawn because he's done the grind. He's done it the right way. He's built his business gradually, so he's got a lot of inspiration to share. But before we continue, I just want to say a warm welcome to our audience. We've got people watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Periscope, on LinkedIn. So welcome, everyone. So do tell us in the comments if you're a new viewer or a regular viewer. So either use hashtag new viewer or hashtag regular viewer. So how did you come up with the title for your poetry book? Was
believe
that
it or
just a
not.
yeah, I'd like to know the story.
It was kind of funny. It came to me, when was it? It was last year in November, between November and December. I was at work and I got a phone call by Darshan, and me and him was talking about it, just going over like, man, like what can we do about the title? Like we just going back and forth. And I started speaking and I said something about us two. And then I looked and I said, wait, it's just us. And I said, oh, there we go. Like, I kid you not. It literally happened just like that.
That's
Um,
fantastic.
and I just told him right then and there, I said, "Yep, that's the one. That is the one right there." I said, "It's just us for sure." I said, "That's
That
got to be it," and that's what happened.
that is fantastic. When it kind of drops out of the sky like that, it's like
Yeah,
a light bulb goes off and it's
all the
exciting.
time, all the
It's
time.
exciting, isn't it?
Yes, and the same thing what happens with poetry. Like you could just be sitting there watching TV all day, or you can just be, just out and about walking or jogging, whatever you're doing, and then all of a sudden you just randomly just get a poem, or you just see something or you hear something, and you're just like, huh, okay, well, I could do something with that, and then you just start writing, and that's it. That's what happens all the time.
It's magic.
Yes,
It's a
definitely
magic.
magic.
Yeah, it's a
Definitely magic.
magic. Yeah, it's a magic connection. It's like a channel that kind of drops out of the sky, and I totally understand what you're saying because I get that. When I look around at things and stuff and go, "Ooh, hey." Yeah, like my children's books come from my little guy who just runs around and there's inspiration just watching a kid run around. I'm sorry, it just
Yeah,
boom. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They do something and you're going, that's a story right there. You know.
yeah. It's like all
So
the time.
you go to the mall, watch people. Well, there's a lot of stories there, right?
Yeah.
So,
all the time.
yeah. So, how do you feel about being called an inspiration for your generation? Now, this is kind of a big title to be carrying young
Yes,
and at any
yeah.
time, really, because we're in such an interesting time in your life and my life and Bridgetti's life. And so, people are looking for inspiration right now. We're looking for, someone who is going to give us hope and that everything's going to be okay. So that's a big thing to carry. So how do you feel about that?
Honestly, I think it's an honor. I think it's amazing, and I'm actually flattered,
Mm,
for sure. But I would say that being an inspiration is such a blessing because you bring so much to the table. You bring so much value, and you can also just give people a lot of advice by simply telling them like, "Hey, you can do this." I promise you. I guarantee. Like when I did this book, I wanted to quit 10 times. I actually did quit 10 times. I kept going back and forth. I quit and then I kept writing, quit, kept writing. And then by the 11th time, I just said, you know what? I said, I made a promise. I had a sticky note that I looked at every single day back in from like September. And I put it up there and it simply said, get this book done. Period. That's literally what it said. And sure enough, by what January, February of this year, I finished it. And
Mm,
the results was amazing. It was really
that's
I
amazing.
want to
So yeah,
I think you kind of spot on there when you say that, because just having someone in your corner, like you have having Darshawn in your corner,
yeah,
someone just saying to you, "You've got this,"
yeah.
is
You have
kind of
to.
all you need sometimes. You don't
Yes.
need much more than that, but just having one person who believes in you, who says to you, "You can do this."
Yes, and it may not be, and all the time it may not be from the person that you really want it from, and that's okay. It could be a stranger, and I've learned to accept that. It took me a while, even though I'm young, but it took me a while to realize that, like, some of the guys or some of the people that I wanted to, tell me you're doing a good job, I got it from strangers, and honestly, that just helped me motivate more. That right there alone just shows how far I've become, and I hope anybody else actually becomes the same way, if not better. So it is.
What you said there is such a valuable point, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we wait
Yes, we do.
for validation
Yep.
from people that's in our very close circle, and when we don't get that validation, we feel we're not enough. But you made
Exactly.
a very valuable point there, saying that that validation doesn't necessarily need to come from that circle. It can come from anyone. Just one person saying, "You've got this, you can do it." That belief from one person is enough to propel you forward. Before we carry on, we just want to ask our audience, if you're watching this, these are some great truth bombs that you need to share. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. So, Zip, uh, my goodness, now I'm not mispronouncing your name.
It's all good. It's all good. I get all the time. Like I said, Xavier, Javier, Xavier. It's all fine with me. Or just call me X. That's
oh, there you go.
there you go. That's the easiest way. That's what I tell people. Either call me X or X Man. That's it.
We
That's
like the
it.
X then.
X
Yeah.
Man, I just
Yeah.
love that one. I
There
Yeah.
you
love
go.
that one. You
Yeah.
remind me of my two sons. so, so tell me, what was it like, that moment when you first saw your book on Amazon, and what do you want to
Oh
say to
man.
people who may be on the fence about publishing? What did it feel like? Tell us what it felt like when you saw your book up there on Amazon.
Honestly, I cried and I don't cry. I cried because
It's
it
okay.
was
You can tell
yeah,
us.
like
We won't tell anybody.
well, it's because like it's one of those things where you believe it and you see it, but you don't believe like, no, not my book. Like, really?
Yeah. It's surreal. It's like
Yeah,
watching a movie, right?
yes. And just to see your artwork and your craft being displayed, just being thrown out there is like you did that. And it's just so hard to believe because you think about the past and like what you've been through all the way up until now. And then when you finally see it out there, you're like, you just can't believe it.
Yeah.
And you just starstruck, really. So yeah, I cried. I'm not gonna lie. I cried the first 5 minutes and then literally I got back to work immediately. I kid you not, I immediately got back to work because I
Good for
said
you.
I want to come out for 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's what I told myself. That's what I
So
told
Mm.
myself. Yeah.
was that kind of like, seeing your book on Amazon made you feel like I've done this, I can do it, and I want to do
Yeah.
it again?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like, I mean, that's simply what it is. Exactly what it is. So it's once you get it out there, and once you go through the hard times, and once you actually make it, and you just see your hard work just out there, like I said, it makes you want to do it again. It makes you want to go after that, after again, over and over and over. And I mean, why not go until the wheels fall off until you can't go anymore? And so
Right.
you don't have any regrets. And that's like one of the biggest things that I tell people all the time. Like, no more regrets. It's like, no, we're not accepting no more regrets. Go do what you need to do or that you want to do in life, and then just be happy. Period.
Amen, brother.
So
I'm
that's it.
seriously,
That's
amen.
it.
Absolutely. He's on his
That's it.
platform today.
Oh,
And that's good though, because
thank
you
you.
know what, you kids need. I'm going to say kids because there's a younger generation coming from you, but also where you're at who may not know what they want to do,
Hmm.
and even so, the thing that's really cool, I think, here is that you're saying this. I'm saying this, Brigetti's saying this,
Right.
and the age difference here. I would say that to people at any age, do as long as it's legal, right? We got to put that little
Right.
disclaimer
Right.
in there.
Yeah. Be
Okay. As long as,
responsible,
yeah,
but
don't jump off buildings and don't,
yeah.
light things,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I always say that as a joke because we want to inspire people to do what's in their heart and what their spirit and soul is calling for them to do, because that is their true path. That is what's calling you to do. And it may not, it may not make you $1 million. It may not ever make you $1 million. It may make you $1 million, but you need to do that to fulfill yourself, because it's about empowering you, which then empowers others.
Yes. And I will honestly say, like, d- I'm not even putting the money into it. It's just the fact that, like, I did my passion. I went out and, did what I wanted to do. And, I went through the hardship, and I just said, I'm going to finish it. And I finished it. I think that's what's the major value. The fact that you created something and that you can leave it for the future generation to see. And not only that, but like if you have kids or if you have like a family member, you can show them like, hey, like I did this, I did everything. Like I think that's amazing. That's such a huge accomplishment, believe it or not.
It
Take
is.
money out the way. Just the fact that
Uh,
you did it.
right.
That's what's really important.
Yeah, because you can't go into writing to make money, because that doesn't always
Yeah.
happen right
Yeah.
away. I've heard that
Right.
even from famous people. I think
Yeah.
didn't Hank even say that last week? Don't go into this to make money,
Yes.
But it is that will come hopefully, but it's the actually proving to yourself that you can do it. I think
Yeah.
is a really big deal. And for men, I know this is going to sound kind of weird, but this is like the closest you can get to birthing a child without going through all the pain,
Oh
the physical pain.
man.
Because
Oh
you're
man.
bringing something to life, right?
Yeah.
You are bringing to fruition your creation. So I have a couple of men author friends, and that's kind of the joke with them. Yeah, it's like the male birthing a baby, and I'm like, I don't think so. I've had 3
Yeah.
kids. No, but anyways, it's that
But
whole coming out in growing. It's amazing.
Yeah. It really
well,
is. It's
talking about growing, it's also the authority factor that it gives to you. No matter
Mhm.
what the book is that you've written, um, being able to apply for a job or apply for a speaking engagement. This is one of the things that it does. It's not necessarily about the book per se, or the fact that you've made money, but it's what being an author can do for you. Can open up opportunities for you. Can open up speaking engagement. It opens up doors for you.
Yes.
It's
You
your
gotta
business card.
Yeah, you gotta have creativity. Just think outside the box. And especially with these poems, like I try to think outside the box as most as possible and just try to throw like little hints and things like that. Because I want to be so creative that I want you to see multiple different things and not just one thing. I want you to see 5 different things of what I'm talking about,
Well, here's
or not
another
deeper. So yeah.
truth bomb for you. There's a guy called Jim, and I forgot his surname now. but he does what they call flipped learning. I don't know if you've heard about it. And I
Hmm.
can't help myself. Whenever somebody says I've got to think out of the box, Jim
Yeah.
says, forget the box, kick the box.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He
There you
says
go.
because
Like,
if he says
yeah.
because if you're still sort of thinking out of the box, you still have that frame of reference of a box. And he's
Yeah.
Mhm.
saying, just forget the box. Don't even consider it. So
Yes.
just go wild, be creative, do what you love.
Yes, absolutely. And I also will add into it one last thing. It is very it's a mental toughness. I think that's biggest key because you mentally have to legit tell yourself every single day, like, I know I want to quit. I know I want to do something else. But however, I'm going to get this done. That's
Mhm.
it. That's it. I promise you. Once you have that mental toughness and you have that strength, like nothing can beat you. Nobody
Right.
can't tell you anything at all.
And it's also building trust with yourself because how many
Yes.
times I'll do it tomorrow. I really want to
Yep.
do this and we don't do it. So then what happens is we break down our own internal trust with ourselves. So doing what you're talking about is building that trust muscle with
Yeah.
ourselves and then helping you to walk that line of integrity in life. I am a doer and not a talker. And that's a
Right.
very, very important thing in life because I know for me in business and I know for Bajetti, I don't want to deal with talkers. Okay, I
Yeah.
want to deal with doers. If we say we're
Yeah.
going to do it, let's do it. Even if it takes a year or we have to put it on the back burner because we get busy with other projects, but we said we're going to do this, so let's do it. And
Yes.
and yeah, and it helps you to trust yourself that you can depend on yourself to go through with what you say you're going to do, which is very important as well. So do you see yourself branching out into other genres in the future, or do you want to focus solely on poetry?
Um, I could see myself definitely branching out. I'm just not sure if I want to do maybe fiction, nonfiction things, or maybe do maybe a story of me talking about something. Uh, I definitely want to branch off because I want to learn as much as possible. I'm always willing to learn something new every day. And also by me branching out, not only helps me learn new things, but it also helps me gain uh, and also get a chance to talk to more people, interact with more folks, and just figure out like how did they do things, what did they do, learn from the best of the best. And so I'm really just a student at this point. I'm still, I'm brand new and everything. So by me learning as much as possible, who's to say that I can't be like the next maybe comic
Darshan?
book or Darshan,
Darshan.
or like maybe the next New York Times bestseller in
Mhm.
this genre, or the
Right.
next New York Times bestseller in another genre, or I just created a storyline and now I made millions or something like that, or I just made a movie script or something. So I want to learn as much as possible and just keep going, like just keep going.
Yeah.
So I
That
don't
is
want to stop.
amazing.
Good
Yeah,
You go,
inspiration.
Javier.
yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you. I
You
appreciate
got
it.
you got 2 new cheerleaders, so you gotta keep us posted on how you're doing.
Oh, definitely. I will for sure. Definitely.
Oh my goodness. We've got one more question for you,
Uh-huh.
Javier. But before we do that, we quickly want to remind our audience, please do go and like our Facebook page and also share this broadcast and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for staying with us. We've got one last question for you, Javier. Who is your now? I don't say Darshawn. Think out of the box.
We
No
love you,
disrespect.
Darshan. We love
No
you.
disrespect to Darshawn. We love
We
you.
love him. Oh, we love him.
Yeah.
So, who's your favorite author and why?
And
Honestly,
it could be in a different genre than what you do. So
oh man. It's kind of funny. I would say that it's this book right here. It's called R.H. Sin. This right here. This is a very old book. I have this for a very long time. That's why you see the stains in here.
yeah, that's
Um,
love.
I
That's love.
I saw this, and actually my friend gave it to me last year, right as I was starting poetry, and she told me like you need to read this poem about everything. And I think like by me reading R.H. Sin's poems and things like that, it helped me expand my brain. It helped me expand and what I want to write and how I want to write it, and things like that. I would also say this individual, this author is definitely one of the people for sure that I listen to, read to, and things like that. And then I want to put one more other person in there. This is she's actually becoming a new storyteller. She's a teacher right now. Her name is Jada Russell. She is my lady that I dearly love. And she actually has 4 stories that she's written when she was 15. And now she's going back as we speak to rewrite everything, put it in a book. And now she's going to be, pretty much following my footsteps.
That's
So
fun.
yeah, so we actually motivate each other every day. Like she'll ask me all the time, like, "Hey, did you get some poem done?" And I said, "No, I didn't." I was like, "Today is my off day. I'm relaxed. I'm finna play the game. Like leave me alone. Stop bothering me." So yeah. But I love her to death, and she's definitely on her way. So she's amazing.
Well, I would say that you are very blessed to have the mentor that you have in Darshan,
Thank you.
because he definitely is a symbol of going for what you want, believing in yourself, and never taking no for an answer. And I half expect him to be one of the, I expect to see him everywhere at some point in the world with just everything that he does, because he's very multi-talented and he's got so many platforms he's working, and he's a great entrepreneur. So I think, I know for myself, the mentorship that I've had on this journey as a writer, there are not enough thank yous in the world for the training, for the advice, for even the mentoring I'm getting right now on a big project. It just really is priceless, and it will be with you your whole life. And if you can get somebody who's really dug in and done the hard work, it sets you up with a work ethic to take with you through life.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Javier, can you tell us where can people find your book and how can they connect with you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I would say on my Instagram, which is Zay_Rose20, which is ZAY_ROSE 20. You can find my page on there. I have a link. I believe it's either Amazon or Barnes and Noble. You can actually go into Amazon or Barnes and Noble. Just type in "It's Just Us" by Xavier Thomas, and I guarantee you it'll pop right up. You can I believe I am on Walmart, if I'm not mistaken, as well. You can do the same thing. So I would say, let's see, Walmart, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and I will have to I will have to see if I am on something else as well. But that's the only 3 I see so far. Facebook, you can, it is Xavier Thomas, which is Xavier, just spelled just like Javier, but just with an X. And then if you type in, I believe my college, NWACC, you can find me on there as well. You can also type in my name and then also type in @RoseFamily20. You can find the page of It's Just Us on Facebook. So yeah. And pretty soon I will be coming out with my own website. And I'll just keep on growing and being the best that I can be. So that's it.
Okay, give us 30 seconds of a poem.
30 seconds of a poem. All right. So,
out of your book.
So this is my favorite one, and I remember it by heart. It's called "It's Just the Little Things." And it goes by, you may not understand everything that is written or the message that each poem sends. So appreciate the good times, the bad times, the nonfiction, fiction, short stories, just everything all about poetry. Because each poetry, including this one, has something to give. And that's pretty much how it goes. So yeah.
Very nice. Awesome.
Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you back next week again. That's a great note to end on.
Thank you. Thank you.